Hello everyone, welcome once again to Investing with the Difference. So thanks a lot for all the subscribers. I think we have got now 4,000, exactly 4,000 subscribers, and the EOS community is still strong even though it's a bear market. And it's also kind of interesting that we ran a poll on Twitter, and what we saw is that we asked a question and 103 votes came in about your token strategy as an investor. And I still see, even with all the mayhem in the market, more than 54% people who are subscribed to Investing with the Difference are saying that they are holding this EOS token, and 38% are saying they are buying at this level. I didn't see many people who are saying that they are maybe less than 10 people out of 103. They are saying they are selling or they are already out. So there's a lot of conviction here in that tone. Let's go to now what we promised to you, that we are going to bring Ask Me Anything session where we took your questions on Twitter, and now today I'm going to try to answer as best as I can, and I hope it will help you understand our thought process and give you some insights into the EOS world. So let's start without wasting any more time. The first question is from Aurora EOS. That is, I think, one of our favorite BP because they have been doing a lot of content, and they asked a serious question here. What are your thoughts on ECAF and mandatory arbitration? Are there any other major issues you have with the Constitution? So I think, again, these are my personal views. I think that ECAF, while it has helped a lot of people with their stolen keys, that was a very unique situation because we were migrating to mainnet from Ethereum. It was very challenging. A lot of people got conned. But I think it is a big attack vector, as it has been discussed. It has created a lot of controversy. And I think it's not in a blockchain world, which is already suffering from trust issues in a DPoS environment. We do not want to create centralized authorities at the base layer. While I am in favor of arbitration, I am not in favor of a base layer mandatory arbitration. Are there any other issues I see with the Constitution? I think we are spending too much effort on the texts of Constitution, which is not an enforceable Constitution. It's a very much idealistic world of Dan Larimer, and it was not even. I don't think Dan himself has spent a lot of time. There was, what I understand is, there was a committee, I think, head by Thomas Cox and few other folks who were writing this. I'm not sure. To be frank, means I haven't followed each and every debate around it. But what I can tell you is that what is the strength of EOS is the technology and the democracy it is building. Yes, we can improve a lot of things here. There are a lot of concerns, but technology is progressing. And I would rely on the governance experts who are looking into it. But I think my personal view is the Constitution should be as light as possible. And whatever is defined, it should be enforceable. So that's another concern I have, is that, for example, the vote buying discussion, there's a lot of other issues around reg producer, how the block producers are registering, whether they disclose their identity or not. All these things are kind of gray area, and we don't want to be defining Constitution which cannot be enforced and which is not equal to everybody. And I'm okay with open market if we cannot define enforceable conditions. Now we have the next question, that is Rob Finch. He's asking, what's your favorite EOS dApp? Now, it's a very, very tough question, to be frank. It's tougher than the governance one because there is no one favorite I can identify. I think EOS is in early days. There are a lot of apps which are coming. As an investor, I see a lot of potential in the gaming area, which is what is happening, where we are seeing a lot more traction. I think definitely we can already say that casino industry is disrupted by EOS because I'm seeing billions of dollars flowing into that. And we have found some investments, like I love the Royal Online Vegas for real life casino games. I'm liking some dice games and the innovation, not just the game itself, right? Means game is very simple, but the dice, what the bet dice guys are doing, they are innovating in the space of token economics. They are actually now bringing other tokens, not just EOS. That's what I'm hearing. So great stuff is happening. But as a basic concept, I would say I'm still waiting for the best dApp. I don't think EOS potential has been realized with the current set of dApps. These are great for adoption. The gaming is great. But I think the ideal dApp would be, for me, when we can do identity-based authentications. We can do some sort of banking apps. We can do some sort of social media apps and some those kind of things. So at this moment, I would say the closest which comes in that era is EVA, which is actually doing a Uber disruption and similar apps. And I think that's the category I really love. Moving forward, how has BankorX impacted EOS community with their cross-chain? I think BankorX is a huge deal because it's providing liquidity cross-chain with Ethereum tokens and so on. And I think at this moment, I'm not sure it has impacted huge because I don't see a lot of people using it. I think it's still early days. Plus, the bear market is not helping. But I think in long run, you will see that bringing tokens and bringing liquidity to airdrop tokens, I think Bancor is going to play a huge role. And the reason is if you go to any decentralized exchanges today like DEX EOS, NewDEX, some of these tokens have very, very low volume. And right now we are not a big enough market where we can create these exchange models. And that's why I think BankorX is for this new tokens which are listed on BankorX. It's an amazing way of enabling liquidity, helping these dApps to gain adoption. And I think bear market is hiding all these positives. Once we have again a lot more people coming into the market, it will change and it will have a huge impact. And it's just starting. I think it's a good time to develop these kind of solutions so that you can test them out, iron out the kinks, and make sure that we are ready when we are ready to hit volumes. And same thing for Chintai and some other great solutions which are happening. BankorX is just another tool which is available now. Next question: if you had to choose one, more excited about the future of Verbly or Telos? All right, so Telos or Telos as they call it is kind of a different experiment, I would say. It's mostly around changing the governance, trying to reduce the effect of whales, providing better equality for block producers. So it's a great governance experiment. I would say that is what is exciting about Telos, while they are also looking for helping dApps, they're incubating dApps and so on. It looks like much more controlled. I think you can always question the decentralized nature right now, the way it is starting, but I think they are going on the right path. And I'm excited because I think we need as many sister chains as we can to enable dApps and to get more developers. It's still early days. There is no competition because there is big enough market for more and more dApps to develop. But I think Verbly, for me, is very, very exciting because of one reason, that is it can be disrupting a huge space of banking, of any other financial institutions, which is a big market in itself. And going the KYC route, it may be accepted faster. It can get sponsorship at some stage from big banks. If EOS is accepted as a public blockchain at the level of Ethereum. Right now we are still in early days. I think EOS is yet to establish. We are only less than 6 months old. That we need to understand and remember. And we need to have a history of a successful chain with proven sustainability, immutability, all those kind of things. And that's when I think Verbly kind of sister chains will get noticed. And again, it's a great, I think both of them are adding value. But I personally think Verbly has a good use case to disrupt bigger things, while Telos is mostly a governance experiment, which is kind of somehow competing with the mainnet, because from an app developer perspective, the only difference I see is maybe a different token economics, different block producers, and some changes in the way RAM is distributed. But other than that, it's just a mainnet from adding value perspective. But as I said, right now we need as many changes as we can because we don't have inter-blockchain communication. App developers, if they just go on mainnet, it can be expensive. They can be limited by CPU and so on. And having more chains means more people developing on EOS.io, and Telos is definitely adding that. And of course, the experimentation they're doing, some great technology they're developing, some amazing people who are working on this in terms of the talent from EOS world. I think that is a great experimental ground for EOS. Next question. We are now using your proxy. I think it's more of a comment. Thank you for supporting our efforts and voting. I think more important, rather than whether you use our proxy or not, we are really appreciate that you're voting. I think that's very important. We keep emphasizing that everybody should vote. Next question, pre-mainnet, a lot of value was assigned to EOS on the basis of dividends coming from airdrops. 6 months in, we have seen a lot of airdrops, but value of these are low. Do you think we overestimated the value of airdrops, or this just tip of iceberg? All right. So I think I had aired my views earlier that definitely what we expected and what we envisioned before the mainnet launch was very different from what happened. There are two things. One thing is we realized the impact of whales, that because people were providing 1:1 airdrop, a lot of people who were not sure about the market, because of course we are in early days of EOS, you need to really believe in the project to hold the tokens. Plus we had so many projects airdropping. Some of these big whales started dumping millions and millions of tokens on the exchanges, and those projects got devalued, irrespective whether they had a great project or not. And of course all these projects were very early in the stage. They had nothing to show because mainnet was just launched. So that created a bad impact. But definitely I think dividends have come in. If you look at some of the tokens, they have millions or tens of millions of dollars of valuation. So if you see based on your stake in EOS, definitely you got dividends. And they keep coming, like, of course, not from the Genesis snapshot for good reasons. Many projects have moved on to the new snapshots. And there's some interesting token economics, because people are now not giving 1:1, all of them. They are giving contribution-based airdrops. So these are the innovations which are happening after the learnings which happened, because we don't want... See, ultimately, airdrops were not meant for... Like, dividends was a way we were hoping we will get, and we did get them, and we are still getting them. If you're still holding the tokens. But I think you need to look at it from the perspective of what was the real deal here. Getting a few pennies on the dollar is not our goal. The goal is to grow EOS ecosystem, to make sure that these projects, they get funded without raising an ICO. And that was the power of EOS. By doing these airdrops for free, they were creating a market. So if they don't make money, nobody makes money, and even EOS is not successful. So if they have found a different model where they're not giving it to 1:1 to everybody, it's actually helping you, because even if you're getting smaller amount, you have better stake in the company, because the whales are not getting a big amount. So these are some new innovative ways, while some are still continuing on the path of 1:1. So it's going to be interesting dynamics of how all of these things play out. The second part you asked is the $1 billion VC fund. I think it's, again, we need to also remember, again and again I keep saying, it's only 6 months. When VCs invest, these are like, I talked to some of these VC players during hackathon. I have been involved in the VC environment myself in private equity for a very long time. When VCs invest in a project, it's very difficult. See, there is a two class of investment. One is called angel investment or seed investment. That happens in the early stages of project, and the VCs come in at a little more mature stage. So right now we are already seeing 3 or 4 projects which got funded by EOS VCs. But I think the time is not there yet. I don't think people have developed enough and they are mature enough that VCs will go and commit millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. So I would say that we will see the impact in next 6 to 12 months. There is no time limit given by this VC fund. The point is that the good and serious projects are getting funded. Even during the hackathon, they showed off a couple of projects which EOS VC fund has funded. But yes, some of them have not airdropped, and that is something which was never committed. I think the more important thing is that EOS is growing in the usage. These apps are developing on EOS. They don't necessarily have to airdrop. There was no commitment for that. There was an expectation, yes, and Everpedia did that, which was a VC funded group, but their valuation has gone down, so market has not rewarded them for it. I think that is one reason. So I think the best case scenario for EOS is if the projects grow in valuation, EOS as a mainnet and the token price will grow. I think that will be the best dividend. On the other hand, there are these innovative ways which like this gambling casino model, where they are actually asking you to buy as a house and stake your tokens. You can actually own the house and earn dividends, and they are generating some amazing dividends. So they have found their own way without giving you free tokens. By asking you to participate and own the house, you are funding those apps and you are earning dividends. So that is what is something which was not expected out of EOS, which is happening. So while there are some negatives, there are some positives happening for investors, and that's how we should look at it. But again, it's a very this is not a mature industry. This EOS was not launched when it was fully done. We are still developing it. The people are still understanding it. The ecosystem is still evolving, so it's not easy for you to predict how this play out, and that's what is happening. Plus, of course, the market has not helped. The kind of continuous bear market we had since the mainnet launch, that doesn't help somebody who's dropping and getting sold off in the market. They're just killing their projects. They're spending a lot of energy. They're spending their lives building these projects on EOS. You don't want them to die out just because they're trying to give you some pennies on the dollar. All right, the next question: are there career opportunities non-developer related as blockchain consultant, advising existing businesses, how they could benefit from utilizing EOS platform? So I would say that there is a huge amount of opportunity here. So I myself, I'm not a developer, even though I understand the code. I do, when I'm advising certain projects, I'm actually reviewing the code sometimes. I'm even suggesting changes in the architecture of the program and so on, but I'm not coding myself. I think as a blockchain consultant, if you understand the token economics, if you understand the benefits of application of blockchain, there is a huge opportunity here. Just be involved, keep learning, look for interacting with the community members, with people who are actually building projects, learn with them, take part in the projects. I think the best learning experience is not by sitting as an investor and just hoping and reading the white paper. When even these token economics of these gambling apps, a lot of people criticize me for it, but when I'm interacting with them and actually I'm playing the game, when I'm talking to the developers, I'm learning every day of how these guys are thinking, how business is being built on a blockchain, for the challenges people see. It doesn't matter which area you're applying this. The lessons are learned which are going to be applicable everywhere, and that is something which if you have that capability, you will be a lot valuable to people as an advisor, as a consultant. And that's what I have done. Means I don't have a blockchain degree as such. Blockchain is so new that nobody has got formal education. Everybody's learning with trial by fire. So you, as an investor, as a technology user, keep learning, and I'm sure once you build your knowledge, you can always apply it in various domains. Finally, we have a couple more questions. So in my portfolio, if my portfolio is 100% EOS, should I diversify and put 1/3 into Verbly and 1/3 in Hello Telos, and be more involved in all the dApps on these chains? Or should I stay 100% EOS? So again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to help you understand how to manage your portfolios. If you really believe in these chains, you can go ahead and invest in them. But the question is, you need to always remember, while Verbly and Telos both are some amazing people behind them, but they are like startups. They don't have the same kind of influence which Block 1 has in terms of getting VC funding, in terms of having the Dan Larimer effect, in terms of all the big block producers who are committed to it. Regionally, like China is huge in EOS. The kind of users they are bringing to the community is huge. Now that is on mainnet. I don't know what is happening in China for Telos. I don't know if there is even a single Chinese block producer, or even they are doing any community creation in China. Same for Verbly. So these are not as big a project. EOS is on the coin market cap in top 10 for a very long time. Verbly and Telos, they're starting from scratch. So this is all about how much risk you want to take. Perhaps this 1/3 of Verbly and 1/3 of Telos, if they are successful, they will give you much bigger multiples. They may be giving you double or 4 times or 10 times the returns of EOS if the market returns up. But similarly, they have a higher chance of failure because of lack of network effect, lack of the backing of big players. And that's what matters a lot in success of a project, not just the merit on technical grounds or whatever they're trying to define. So it's up to you how risky you want to be, and that's what I can say at this stage. But yeah, it's may not be comparable. Don't look at Verbly and Telos as comparable to EOS mainnet. Finally, when moon, okay? I think this is something which is a favorite line for crypto guys, but of course, I think market is in pretty bad shape. Let's look at the rest of the question. But seriously, when do you see the tipping point for mass adoption? For example, UI improvements, killer app, rush to decentralization on the next GFC hits. I don't know what that GFC means, but let's talk about the first part of the question, that is mass adoption. So I think mass adoption is going to take some time because of multiple reasons, because still we are in early days of crypto overall. It's expanding slowly. More people are coming into the ecosystem. When I talk to people, new developers, I think everybody who learns blockchain for a little bit, they realize that, oh, it is there to stay. It has a real use case. So there's no question about it. I don't see people leaving because of the lack of benefits of the technology. I think most of them are leaving because they were speculators and they burned their hands by putting a lot of money into it, thinking if they will double it overnight. And those are the people who are complaining about blockchain. I don't think anybody who is in for technology, who is thinking like how disruptive it can be, they are leaving. And that's what is going to happen. Now, in terms of UI improvements and killer dApps, I again go back to what is happening on EOS right now. You have billions of dollars of money being bet in gambling dApps. While whether you like it or not, whether your morals allow you to support gambling or not, gambling is a $500 billion industry, $500 billion industry per year. And that $500 billion industry, which is highly regulated by governments, which is you cannot just go and start a casino. You cannot just create games. There's a lot of a crackdown in many countries. It's even not even allowed at all. Like it's not even a single casino. Even in those situations, you have $500 billion of industry you're talking about. So gambling, whether it's a great thing or not for society, that's not my place to comment. I'm talking about from a pure business sense. Already people are doing billions of dollars of betting on EOS. So you're already capturing some market share from there. And think about how fast it can take gambling forward when anybody from their desktop anonymously can bet. There is no spendings of these huge casinos, which when we go to Vegas strips or in your city, you must have gone to this casino. They waste so much money for building these huge buildings and huge kind of infrastructure around it. Here, they just have to build a nice app, and they can provide a much lower house edge. They can provide better returns for gamblers or for whoever is interested in the gaming industry. And it's really changing the way. I think you will see a totally new world of online gambling evolving. US recently legalized online gambling. Many other countries are opening up and getting more liberal. So you can already say that this industry is reaching a stage where it is getting disrupted. But again, as I said, gambling is just one part of it. It's easy, it's early days. Crypto people are already gamblers because, as I said, a lot of people are in it for doubling their money and not really interested in technology. And that's what I think most of this mass adoption you're seeing right now is not real adoption. These are the same set of people who invested. They're looking for quick returns in gambling world. Now, coming back to the killer dApps, UI improvements, I think the key management, user management is the one big problem to solve. And Dan has said it time and again. This has to be resolved. You cannot expect mass adoption until you still have this kind of a, like even people struggled a lot for username password. And people still use a lot of simple passwords like 1234 and so on. When you give them a private key to own themselves, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to happen. So it has to be some sort of key custodial services, some kind of another set of trusted entities in between. With some sort of key recovery procedures and so on. All those things have to be developed. Better wallets have to be developed. And if I compare EOS with any other blockchain, I am amazed. I can right now play games from my phone. This whole system of owner key versus active key, where I'm not worried about my tokens which are staked, and I'm only using my active key and liquid tokens. We have already solved the technology problem. I think I agree with you. The UI improvements, the actual usage in the end will depend on that. And once that is solved for the end user who doesn't even want to manage the active key, and maybe some custodial services coming in and doing that, and that will really change the way we go forward. So this is my take, but I think in general it may take some time because right now it's a time to build, and technologies cannot be built overnight. The good quality projects takes years and years to build. Google was built in 5 to 10 years. Facebook was built in 5 years. So it takes a long time. And Apple was built in like 20 years, where they really made a final killer product. So you need to think about that. So EOS is still 6 months old. A lot of projects are moving very fast, and things will keep changing. Technology is being built, and that's what matters. So thanks again for so many people who asked questions, and I think I really enjoyed it. It was some really smart questions, a lot of great things we discussed, and I hope you like it. And do subscribe to the channel and share this video. Don't get disheartened. I know that market is bleeding. I don't think it's easy if you have invested a big amount believing that it will go up. But remember, crypto world is always a speculation world. The valuation of billions of dollars is very difficult to get in private equity, but because the retail jumped in, speculators jumped in, it was kind of a bubble. Now, that doesn't mean that technology is not real. It doesn't mean the prices market decide based on the sentiment. Fundamentally, crypto market should never have crossed 100 billion. It went all the way up to $800 billion. That was more of a bubble. But technology, the way it is progressing this year, the way it is expected to progress next year, I think the value is getting created. Now, how much dollar amount you assign to it, nobody knows. And that is what speculators do. That's not what I'm going to do. If you want to invest in cryptos, in EOS, my recommendation is don't put your money, put your time, learn the technology, take part in it. That will give you much better returns than just buying the token and hoping that it will turn around and give you 10 times return. While that may happen, or it may actually go to 50 cents, it doesn't matter. I think what matters is if you really develop together, you learn this technology, it will help you in long run, because this is the future. It's very clear. I think the cat is out of the bag. This whole thing is already pretty much out there in the public. You cannot take the technology back. You can keep regulating, you can kill the projects, but people who are like the real great community members, the technology like innovators, they have learned this technology now, and you cannot take that knowledge back. So it's going to happen, whether it takes 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years. I don't know. But EOS is proving technically that it's moving ahead, and that's what matters to me. So that's all I wanted to say today. Thank you once again, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Look forward to talk to you more, and please do communicate, engage with us, and hope we can keep helping you navigate this crazy world of crypto. Thank you. Bye-bye.